our University President, Dr. Noel Marjan Iyasi, to our Campus Director, Dr. Lester Cabonilas, to our beloved professors, proud parents and families, fellow graduates, friends, and everyone who became part of our journey, Maayong Buntag. Today, I stand before you not only as a graduate, but as someone who once wondered if I would ever make it to this moment. And honestly, if you had asked me years ago, when I was just beginning of this journey, are you sure you will graduate? I probably would answer, I hope so, not because I did not have a dream, but because there were so many moments when I had dream felt far away. I came to college as a young girl, from simple family, carrying a simple but a powerful dream. To finish my studies and give my family a better life, I did not come from a life where everything was easy. There were days when money was not enough. There were moments when my parents had to work harder just so we could afford what we needed for school. And there were times when there was simply no money left. They had to borrow from other people. And sometimes, even asking for help was difficult because not everyone was willing to lend a hand. So those experiences taught me something very early. Education is not expensive only because of tuition or school requirements. Sometimes the real cause of the sacrifice behind it, behind every project I submitted, there were parents working. Behind every school uniform, there were sacrifices. Behind every allowance, there were days when my parents had to choose what could wait and what could not. And behind this graduation gown is a mother and a father who never stopped trying. Mama, Papa, this degree is not mine alone. This is ours. There were times when I saw how hard you worked just to make sure I could continue studying and quietly ask myself, will I ever be repaid all of this? Maybe I can never fully repay everything, but promise that I will spend the rest of my life trying to make your sacrifices worth it. And there is one thing I wish for more than anything. When the day comes that I finally have a good job, and when I finally become successful, when I can finally give back everything you once gave me, I hope you will still be there. I hope you will still be there to see me succeed. I hope you will still be there when I finally say, Ma, Pa, nakaya ka gyud nato. Because I don't want success if you are not there to witness it. College was not easy. There was academic pressure, there were difficult requirements that made me question my abilities. There were nights when I felt exhausted, overwhelmed, and unsure of myself. There were moments when I wanted to give up. And sometimes, the pressure did not only come from school. It also came from the expectations of the people we love. My family had expectations for me, and I understood why. They wanted the best for me. They wanted me to succeed. But sometimes, those expectations become a weight I carried silently. There were moments when I felt like I had to prove that I was worthy of sacrifices my family was making for me. And when I felt that I was falling short, I became my own worth critic. I questioned myself. Am I good enough? Can I really do this? What if I fail? And sometimes, what if I am not meant for this? So there were problems in my family, especially financial problems, and that affect me deeply. Some struggles were invisible. I could still attend class. I could still laugh with my friends. I could still submit requirements. But inside, I was carrying things that nobody could see. And that is something I realized about college. Sometimes, the strongest looking student in the classroom is also fighting a battle nobody knows about. So if there were days when I looked okay but I was actually struggling, I want to tell the younger version of myself that thank you for staying. Thank you for continuing even when you were tired. Thank you for choosing to try one more time. Because today, that girl is standing here, and then there was teaching. To be completely honest, becoming a teacher was not originally my biggest dream. I chose education because I wanted a board course. And between the choices I had, I thought about criminology, but honestly, I felt murag dili na ko kaya. So I chose education. At first, maybe I chose it because it felt like the safer path. But somewhere along the way, something changed. The course I once simply chose became something I slowly learned to understand. Then something I understood became something I appreciated. Eventually, something I appreciated became something I loved. I realized that teaching is not simply standing in front of the classroom and explaining a lesson. The teaching is reaching someone who thinks they cannot do it and telling them, you can. It is encouraging a student who is afraid to speak. It is believing in someone who has stopped believing in themselves. It is becoming the person who tells another young dreamer, padayon lang. And maybe that is why I ended up here. Maybe I did not choose teaching perfectly from the beginning. Maybe teaching chose me slowly. And now, I can proudly say that I am not just graduating as a Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in Filipino. I am graduating with a purpose. I may not know exactly where life will take me after this, but I know this. I want to become the kind of a teacher who remembers what it feels like to be a student who is struggling. A teacher who does not only see grades, but sees the person behind them. A teacher who understands that sometimes a student doesn't need another reason to feel inadequate. Sometimes they simply need someone to say, kaya nimo, padayon. Of course, we cannot talk about college without talking about the people who made the difficult days bearable. To my friends, especially my Kachipan family and the Powerpuff Girls, I don't know how we survived college with all over conversations, laughter, food trips, and questionable topics. There was almost never a day without someone laughing loudly. There was always food, and somehow Even when we are supposed to be discussing something serious, we could suddenly end up talking about the most random things. Sometimes, the topic were wholesome. Sometimes, let's just say they were not appropriate for a graduation speech. Laughter. But those moments mattered. Because there were days when the life felt heavy, and then one of you would say something ridiculous and suddenly we were laughing, or we were laughing again. You reminded me that even in the middle of pressure, we were still allowed to enjoy life. Thank you for the food we shared. Thank you for the jokes. Thank you for the late conversations. Thank you for helping me another when requirements became overwhelming. Thank you for the small acts of kindness that perhaps you don't even remember it anymore, but I will. And most importantly, thank you for making college feel less lonely. We entered this university as students who barely knew what the future would look like. And today, we are living as people who have memories we'll carry for the rest of our lives. Kachipan family and Powerpuff Girls, we survived. To my professors and mentors, thank you. Thank you for the lessons inside and outside the classroom. You taught us that education is not only about knowing the right answers. Sometimes it is about learning how to ask better questions. It is about discipline. It is about patience. It is about responsibility. And sometimes it is about learning how to stand. It is learning how to stand up after receiving a grade that makes you question all your life choices. Beyond the academic lessons, you taught us something more important, then become professionals who both competence and character. As a future educators, we will carry those lessons into classrooms that you may never see. And perhaps one day, a student of ours will become successful because something we taught them. That is the kind of legacy I hope to carry. To my fellow graduates, look at us. We made it. Think about the people we were when we first entered college. Some of us were confident. Some were shy. Some knew exactly what they wanted. Some were completely lost. Some had plans. Some were simply trying to survive one semester at a time. And some of us were secretly asking ourselves, makagraduate pa kahako? And now, here we are, wearing our graduation gowns, holding our diplomas, sitting beside the people who witnessed our struggles. We survived, not because everything went according to plan, but because when things did not go according to plan, we learned how to continue. We learned how to adjust. We learned how to ask for help. We learned how to fail without allowing failure. Or we learned how to fail without allowing failure to define us. And most importantly, we already learned that progress does not always look like success. Sometimes progress simply looks like getting up and trying again. To the younger students who are still walking the halls of this university, I know some of you are tired. Maybe you are currently struggling financially. Maybe you are under pressure. Maybe your family expects you so much from you. Maybe you are comparing yourself to your classmates. Maybe you are wondering whether you chose the right course. Maybe, like me, you are not even completely sure where your path is leading. But please remember this. You do not need to have your whole life figured out today. You only need to keep moving, one requirement at a time, one examination at a time, one semester at a time, one difficult day at a time. And if you have to cry, cry. If you need to rest, rest. But when you are ready, padayon. Because one day you might look back at the version of yourself who almost gave up and realized she was stronger than she thought. And to my family, especially Mama and Papa, thank you for believing in me even during the times when I struggled to believe in myself. Thank you for working when you were tired. Thank you for sacrificing when you had little. Thank you for finding ways when there seemed to be no way. Every sacrifices you made became part of a foundation of this achievement. So today, when people call me a graduate, I know there are 3 names attached to that title: mine, Mama's, and Papa's. This diploma carries your sacrifices. This medal, this gown, and this moment, they carry your love. And I hope someday, when I have my own classroom, my own students, my own career, and hopefully my own success, I can look back and say, everything started with the 2 people who refused to give up on me. And finally, the person I need to thank the most, my younger self. The girl who entered college with dreams bigger than her circumstances. The girl who was afraid. The girl who doubted herself. The girl who sometimes cried because life felt too heavy. The girl who worried about money. The girl who felt the pressure of expectations. The girl who wondered whether she was capable enough. I wish I could go back and tell her, you don't have to be fearless. You just have to be brave enough to continue. You will struggle. You will question yourself. You will have days when you think you cannot do it. But you will also discover strength and you have. You will discover people who will laugh with you. People who will help you. People who believe in you. And eventually you will discover something you never expected. You will learn to love the path you once chose simply because you were afraid you couldn't take another step. Today, I am no longer that little girl who only dreamed of graduating. Today, I am graduate of Negros Oriental State University, a Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in Filipino, and a future teacher. And perhaps the greatest achievement is not the diploma in my hands. It is the person I became while trying to earn it. So to the graduating of the 2026-2027, let us not be ashamed of the struggles that brought us here. Let us remember the empty pockets, the sleepless nights, the difficult requirements, the family problems, the tears, the doubts, and even the moments when we wanted to quit. Because those moments are not proof that we were weak. They are proof that we keep going. So our graduation is not the end of our story. It is the beginning of the chapter where we finally get to use everything we learned. Some of us will become teachers. Some will take take different paths. Some will succeed immediately. Some will struggle again. And some may take longer to find where they truly belong. And that's okay. Because success that does not have one timeline. We are not late. We are simply taking different roads. So wherever life takes us, let us carry the people who help us get here. Let us remain humble when we succeed. Let us remain strong when we struggle. And when we finally reach the dreams we once prayed for, may we never forget the version of ourselves who started with almost nothing, but because sometimes the most beautiful success story begins with a person who simply says, I don't know if I can, but I will try. And today, we can finally say, we tried, we struggled, we cried, we laughed, we survived, and most importantly, we made it. Daghang salamat. Thank you, Mama and Papa. Thank you, Norsu. Thank you, professors. Thank you, friends. And thank you, fellow graduates, for being part of this unforgettable chapter. May we never forget where we came from. May we never lose the courage to dream again. And may we always remember the reason we started. To the dreams we once thought very impossible, this is for you. Congratulations, batch 2026-2027. We made it. And now, it's our turn to make a difference. Maraming salamat, daghang salamat, and may God bless us all. Padayon future educators. Thank you.